Shanti Shanti. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Grathitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatvamanusandathami Bhagavad Gita Bhavatveshinim Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudramarutaha Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedai Sangapadakramopanishadai Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavastita Tatkatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yoginaha Yasyantam Navidussura Suragana Devaya Tasmai Namaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha. So, let us do verse number 36 on the 4th chapter, 5 verses 36 to 40. So if you can come to that. Apichedasi papebhyaha. Apichedasi papebhyaha. Apichedasi papebhyaha. Sarvebhyah papakrittamaha. Sarvebhyah papakrittamaha. Sarvam jnanaplavenaiva. Sarvam jnanaplavenaiva. Vrijinam santarishyasi. Yathaidhansi samidhogni. Yathaidhamsi samidhogni. Bhasmasat kuruterjuna. Bhasmasat kuruterjuna. Jnanagnih sarvakarmani. Jnanagnih sarvakarmani. Bhasmasat kurute tatha. Kurute tatha. Nahi jnanena sadrisham. Nahi jnanena sadrisham. Pavitram iha vidyate. Pavitram iha vidyate. Tatsvayam yoga samsiddhi. Tatsvayam yoga samsiddhi. Kalenat Manivindati. Kalenat Manivindati. Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. Tatparah samyatendriyaha. Tatparah samyatendriyaha. Jnanam labdhva param shantim. Jnanam labdhva param shantim. Achirena dhigacchati. Achirena dhigacchati. Ajñascha shraddhanascha. Ajñascha shraddhanascha. Samshayatma vinashyati. Samshayatma vinashyati. Nayam lokostina paraha. Nayam lokostina paraha. Nasukham samshayatmanaha. Nasukham samshayatmanaha. So we are currently doing verse number 22. There's a couple of things on verse number 22 that we didn't finish last time. So we will do that today. As you know that this block of verses, which goes from verse number 18 to verse number 24 of the 4th chapter, is one of those sections in the Gita which doesn't happen all that much, where the knowledge itself is directly commented on and the implications of the self-knowledge is also commented on. And so verse number 18 was the one which gave us the direct aspect of the jnanam. So we can even read that. So we remember that. Karmani akarma yaf pashyet akarmani cha karmayaha sabuddhiman manushyeshu sah yuktaha kritsna karmakrit. So this was the verse that really talked about the self-knowledge, which is exactly opposite to what we think. So in order to prove, to highlight the unusual nature of the understanding of from what we are normally used to, this verse was given. Then as we saw, that the implications of this knowledge in terms of what it means in leading our lives was given in two different segments. So one was for a grihastha, for an active person who's dealing with life on a daily basis, which means a sense of competition, a sense of some rights, some duties, a combination of duties, some rights, etc., and so on, laws, observing the laws and so on. And the sannyasi, who is of a different breed of a person. So, which is not there in the Western world to the same degree, although it is there to, people who, for example, live in monasteries and nunneries and so on and so forth. They have a similar kind of a lifestyle, where in a monastery you also don't really deal with competition. You don't deal with duties and there's no rights. You're simply looking at a lifestyle devoted to the God. This is the thing. But in India, this is taken up to a very interesting degree, where you don't have to stay in a monastery. There's no confines of a monastery ashrama. You can stay there, we do have ashramas, but you can be anywhere. But your lifestyle is not which is tinged with competition, does not have any rights. If you don't get food, you don't get food. That's it. You go hungry. You cannot say, the government has to give me some, this is ridiculous. You can't say that. There's a story, very interesting story, that is a real story. And I think I might have told you this before. So after India became independent, about maybe 20 years after that, maybe in about 60 or 60s or something. So there was a protest, again for the sake of the protection of the cows in India. So all these sadhus, they took out processions and they were bothering people and they were disrupting business and so on. So the government said, you can't do that, just stay away from bothering others. But they didn't agree, so they kept on bothering people. They were just taking out processions, holding up traffic and so on and so forth. So finally the police inspector said, we have no other choice, so they put them into jail. So there's a bunch of sadhus who were all put into jail, and there's about 40, 50 of them. They were all jailed together. So when the sadhus started living in the jails, They said, this is beautiful. This is nice. A breakfast is given to us every morning. Then we're hardly hungry and then the lunch comes and they are just singing bhajans and so on and so forth. And so pretty soon they are, and so the jailer will give them some lecture every day and they will listen to him and so on and so forth, but they didn't really pay much attention to us. They were just doing it. So they were saying, these guys, we have to release you now. So they said, are you sure you want to release us? We like it here. So the story was that, really speaking, it is not the four walls that make a jail. It is just our own thinking and our own identity that imprisons us. And so they said, leave these guys out. This is just they're eating fresh food and every day, let them be on their own. So the sannyasis have a different way of leading a life, but it's also a difficult way. As we saw that last class also, a sannyasi is something where you have to aspire to. And if you don't, if you're not ready for it, the life becomes very ugly, because you don't have a natural expression of anger and control and so on and so forth. It's all imposed and it just gets terrible. I gave you the example of this Swami who walked out because his shishya was not punctual. Typically, this is exactly what happens. You find some of these Swamis, they have not internalized it yet. So don't take sannyas lightly. It's not something that you should do that. But we should aspire towards it. And that's why the four ashramas of life are given. And there the most important ashrama is the grihastha ashrama, where you do karma yoga as a way of getting ready towards your independence. And so the whole scheme of the life needs to be very clear. And that is, ultimately, I am looking for freedom from all dependencies. And we have said this before, I'm just revising it. That if you examine your life, you make a list of, in fact, do this sometime, just make a list of all the things that you are dependent on. I am not happy unless, number one, number two, number three. It's a long list and keeps changing and you keep adding to it. And that is not a recipe for success. In fact, Swami Paramarthananda said it beautifully. He said, if you were to look for an airtight definition of success, it would be that you handle success and failure equally. You're independent of both of them. And in fact, this is exactly what the verse that we are studying. Yeah, beautiful. So just look at number 22, which we already started to study, and I'll connect it to what I was about to say. Yadricha labha santushtaha dvandva atitaha vimatsaraha samasiddhau asiddhau cha kritva apina nibadhyate. So here, as Swami Paramarthananda was saying, that this is called dvandva atitaha. So dvandva means the opposite. Creation of the fundamental whole creation, the two extremes, hot, cold, right. North pole, sukha dukkha, sukham dukkham. So this is how dvandva. Dvandva means a pair of opposites. And I think that what happens is that I want one of the two pairs, but not the other one. I want success, but I don't want failure. I want nice, comfortable weather, no cold weather, etc., etc. This is what happens. And so our life is full of dependencies on the dvandva. And the beginning of freedom is the recognition. And so the beginning of the freedom, my assessment of my life is that I need to carefully thread my life through the pair of opposites. I want to avoid failure. I want to be successful. I want to avoid very cold weather. I want any dukkha to be avoided, sukha only. So you really glom on to one of the two aspects of it. And by the way, it works to a point. It works, so it reinforces your wrong decision. So the recipe for success in life is to say that I can exist without glomming on to one of the two extremes. It's possible. It's possible. First, you recognize the possibility. Then, as we will, in fact, today also itself will say, then you live it. Then you live it. And in fact, anyway, I'll just very quickly comment on this and then go on to the real talk today, which is the next stage. I'll come to that in a minute. But just to finish this off, as Swami Paramarthananda was saying, that the definition of success is that your ability to become at least reasonably independent of both success and failure. You should remember that. It's a beautiful definition. So this is what is meant by dvandva atitaha. So atitaha means above, beyond. So the thing is that it's not as though you won't get failures in your life. But what is important is to understand that you have a freedom to dismiss failure as something that affects you. And that assessment that you have the ability to not be affected by failure comes from the knowledge. Comes from the knowledge. Karmani akarmana pashyat, number 18. What knowledge is that? And so there Swami Paramarthananda is very clear. He really does a great job, more than anything else I've seen. Really, he's done a great job of categorizing it. And so, the principle of understanding that I can be free of failure is to understand that I am the electricity, not the appliance. If the appliance if there is a failure, it belongs to the appliance, not to me. And so the first stage of the knowledge and its implications is to be able to distinguish between Atma, which is like electricity, and Anatma, which is like appliance. And so here, Swami Paramarthananda has given like these 5 principles that we must look into. We must understand that. So those five are, in terms of the electricity, that as a conscious is not a product or property of the body mind complex. Consciousness is not a part, product, or property of my body mind complex. The electricity is not a product, part, or property of the appliance. It has to be thought through. Number two, the conscious is an independent entity, in Sanskritam called Vastu. So Vastu means something. Science and it. The electricity also pervades and makes it do something. Is that the conscious is therefore not limited by my body mind. The fourth one, that consciousness survives even after the fall of the body mind. Nothing to do with electricity, survival while the appliance has, and supposing the appliance is unusable, what happens if the appliance, for example, is fixed? You're kind of like, you wake up from your dream or your sleep, you can reuse, but the like where it cannot be fixed, it has to be abandoned, become disease. Just as appliance can be, it's not functional anymore. Just tear it apart. But it has nothing. So the fourth lives after the fall. And the fifth one, interestingly, surviving consciousness cannot interact with the world because the immediate interaction is missing. At least it itself can be touched. You better not touch it 20, but it can be touched. If somebody says, I don't see it, but prove it to me, and says, I don't, but just I'm telling you. He says, no. I have to. He says, okay, are you ready for talk? He said, oh, I know. Is there anybody who has touched electricity? This is really a question. Anybody who has never touched electricity and got some shock in their life? It's a peculiar thing. Amazing. And the very interesting thing is, has given defensivism. You just pushes it at spite, but in the shit, because medium, but in conscious, that body, you cannot interact with the world. It happens when there's some funny situation, really, that a moment ago, a person was alive and working. Next body is just lying there. Person is gone. And you see the person go, what happened? Gone. Was actually interacting with you? Because it is you. It is you. There is only one consciousness. How is it interacting with you? So there are implications, but these are the elements of the knowledge. Also, now, what is that the something which electricity cannot be the appliance, etc. Therefore, because you can say, how can I avoid failure? You can be free from failure. You can be dvandva atita because you are appliance. That's an appliance. Every appliance is meant to fail. I don't have anything to do with it. If my identity is that appliance, see how beautiful I am because I am working a cool this place. If you're this, but your identity is something which is totally different. So anyway, those are the of verse number 22, etc. There, the one did finish number 22 is that so call mats word that I want to do that and then go on. Vimatsaraha. Vimatsaraha on the one of the front of the first part of the verse number. Yadrichya santushtaha dvandva atitaha vimatsaraha. So vimatsaraha means one where your emotional response with your connection to the appliance. The appliance means, as grihasthas, we get upset with things. Both of us that are not happy about it. Competition leads to things and so on. And this is something that was taught about then and so in the Acharya. He said that the Vedic view of life, the Vedic life in India, was mission a getting on the curve and is not healthy. It's very strange because we are brought up in a system where scoring well is an important thing. Said there should be no competition because it is, and the old Vedic system which fallen down, have been influenced by the Western world, forth and so on, is no. It's progress, but it's not good for fitness. And instead, you should simply learn what you need to learn in a very environment. Having to do person, which endangers and then kinds of things. And then says, he says, at life of a child, the most traumatic thing that happens to the child is to go to without your mom. Because up until time, in particular, and your dad, but particularly your mom, is with you, loving you, protecting you. All of a sudden, you are in an environment, the same, you are in a strange environment where other kids are bothering you. The teacher doesn't have enough time to call you. And you are saying, what's happening to me? What's my life all about? Here's my mom. And the mom has said goodbye to you and she's left some work to do and so on. And Swamiji says this is a shock to the system. Vedic view was that really speaking, this is where the criticism also is that really you continue on with the trade that you're familiar with. They're the best to give you training and so on. And this is why you find that, for example, if you look at these, here also in Rockefellers and so on, but all these people, you find they're most successful who may not be studying very much, they may not even gone to college, but they've had the benefit of the working parents and so on. They're very effective, actually. The values is well inculcated to them. So the lack of eventually is where you just grow to the best possible. So the matsaraha, vimatsaraha, doing here wrong. So matsaraha is one which has these, I think there are 6 defects. All these come away from that. You live a life of security. It's not, of course, it depends on where we are in the Western world where we are living. Meditation is important. Things are. So you cannot just meditation. The thing is that it is possible to lead a happy life worrying about the future. Just as guilty else, your children grow up and the person is learning to play the guitar and he loves it, or drum, and the parents say, quit, you've got to do. And he says, Dad, I just want to play drums. You crazy? Did I sit at home and I've done this? I'm a person and you're just playing drums? This is ridiculous. He says, okay. Then he goes to an engineering school. Is not doing well, doesn't like the job, and he wishes he could just be a musician, but you won't let him. And so this is how life really deteriorates. And just because parents also feel, how is he going to? Hey, let Ishvara take care of him. If he is just a musician, that's okay. No, we won't let him do that. So the word vimatsaraha means that free, etc. 22. Number 20. Also the grihastha is kept in mind. So sangasya avasthetasaha yajna acha karma gram pile. So lifestyle, difficult to appreciate in our current environment, but nevertheless something that we should aspire to is being given here. So gata sangasya is an interesting one. Just look at that. Gata sangasya means one where the attachment to things is not important. For example, take again the example of children or houses or possessions, all of those kinds of things. Our feeling is, this is my house, these are my children, I'm responsible for it. And I also have rights for it, that children should behave in a certain manner. So the sangha towards all the possession is recognition that children are on loan to you. Loan. And you are trustee. you are not the owner. In fact, there is luck is the only the wealth of the world, and the wealth that is given to you is loan. It's kind of you can get some money and then just for a while, but it really belongs to the bank. So Chinmayanand used to say that. He said, "Be careful. You can touch me, but as wedded to Vishnu, get too close to her, because you can enjoy her company, but if you say, I'm please come home with," then her husband gets very mad. He says, "No, I'm only wedded to Vishnu, not to everybody else." And so the Sangha means, and really this is the fact, that each of the children that we have, let's take children as an example. Each person, what was the history of the person before they came in contact with you? You don't know. You have no idea. I think it was Swami Dayanandji that gives a beautiful example. He said, it's interesting when you go in this long train in India, where there's a lot of stations, and from Delhi to Chennai, it takes like 30 hours. In those cases, what you find is, and go. Somebody comes up on the station, and they find an empty seat, they sit down, and then you start talking to them, and you get close to them. "Oh, you have 3 children. Oh, I have a son. Maybe we should have them talk to each other. And then which school did you go to?" And you finally find out that you were in the same town, and so on and so forth. And then soon time to eat stuff, they take out their stuff, you exchange some food with each other. You get very familiar with them, you laugh, joke, this, that, or the other. And then you open your eyes and the on. Some station came and they left. Or even the other people are continuing. So Swamiji used to say, this is exactly what life is all about. The body itself. The ability to create the body is also given. So, and so on. But there's a huge history behind it. Who comes to the apartment? You see them for like 4 or 5 hours. And so really speaking, they are alone to you. And you don't get too attached to them. Just appreciate the handiwork of Ishvara in your life. Ishvara is the of the bodies, all of the, and take care of them. That doesn't mean that just because I'm not attached, I take care of them. No. This beautiful example, if somebody goes and said, I understand and I just, can you please keep it for me while I'm going for, make sure you drive it also, so that the battery doesn't. So you say, I'll do it. I have a spare third charge that I'm not using. So you park your car. Swamiji, you take a car of his car than your own. He's given it to you. He has some expectations. You really drive it well and make sure that it's protected and so on. So you are the trustee for this. Mean that you are committed. But supposing a person comes and says, okay, I have my BMW, And you say, you know what, I did not realize what a BMW is. I'm not going to give this back to you because I want to just take it. Problems. So don't get attached to it. So this is what by Gata Tasya. Tasya means really what binds us in our life. And we're talking about the sadhu name, Vijay, is not 4 walls. In the 4 walls. I feel I am dependent on and I must behave with me. There's problems for something which is, and what else can I have to do this? You can do this because real value and as self, the consciousness. Understand it. Don't the other is, so this is beautiful. The Sahan who is appreciative of the values, and you somebody ordinary thing. Yes, you can, but and it is inevitable. The sooner you do it, the better off you will. Tasya jnana prasthita chetasaha adharma. So to ajna is a very technical meaning of the word ajna. Offering of my life to the thing about be made into a worship of the what is called yajnaya. And if I make my this same thing, perform yajna is all the very nature of it gata sangasya muktasya jnanaya achara dharma samak. Verse. Yeah, it is several things. One of them is, we talked about the 11 to by 4 from the Ch4. So why call so we should author of my you, not you, but it your body mind. I say the body mind is all the physiological aspects, thinking, karma, may do things, cleanse into you. It is free job, the places, cause to you. Is it for doing a good job? Like a sophisticated instrument that has been given to you. If you utilize it for gaining freedom, think well, utilize it. So that these constitute what already there is oxygen. These pick out from them and formed into constituents. So it is used in your life. That's who you are. If you think it is to you, taken. This is the question is that whatever happened to you, nothing can do that. The only thing that is given is own self to you, you can gain freedom. Yajnaya acharama samaggali. One last important verse, number 4, Brahmarpanam. Sort of a repetitive before. Feel to have. I don't have no progress, because in one who between consciousness and city and it for the sake but understands clearly Agyan steps up because it a couple of weeks to make a point of that. So now, in a very important verse, number 24, you have heard this before. Meal Brahmanahutam Brahmavyam Karmasadhina. So we just very before we go constituents of it, look into also Brahman. Indeed, to him who sees Brahman. It's one of those subtle we shades like that. Just wanted to get to this verse, and we'll probably. So let's look at the introduction. This basically. So one stage is the discrimination Atma, because it is able to see if the electricity is independent. What happens is that you don't understand. And so there is mixed. The body-mind complex dies. This is the situation. So the of Vedanta, in order to see that is to be able to distinguish between Atma and Anatma, the only body and the body, what is Anitya, what is non-changing, first stage. It's kind of difference between them, important thing. So now, before I go to the second stage, I want to remind the example that you should be very familiar with, the back of your mind, which is the right. Remind is children who are living in a ashram of a river, up on the somewhere, going very swiftly. And during the springtime, when these young parents said, we would like to, with your permission. So, I don't know if you're swimming. He says, no, we'll in stream, we'll just take a bath and so on. So he was saying, your parents and your, when I don't think, so they're saying him, this is a beautiful hot day. We know. So finally, there's a 18-year-old child anymore. I'm sure that I will be reluctant. Okay, fine. Just be very careful. Okay. This guy, very worried, and I hope everybody is there, and so on and so forth. He was kept on. Finally, they stopped for some sandwiches, and the guy said, well, let me just count everybody. And he counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and he said, man. And so he said, over the must have gone someplace. He may have gone to relieve himself, in a bathroom or so. So then he counted again the 9, only 9. And pretty soon, his family says, oh, that they could not remember. But there is soon he disturbed, started crying and wailing. Person. Now a man comes along. What's going on? Crying. When we start, there's only 9 now. He says, oh, idea, somebody may have an idea. He says, wait a second. What? And now you are 9, that's why you're crying. He says, yes, exactly why. He says, you know what? I've 10th person. I've 10th person. Relax. And the elderly person seemed like a deep. There's a word for it. It means no guy who's making it a serious person who can rely on. It's up to Purusha. And so the person says, are you found? He says, I'm the 10th person. Just relax, just sit in a row. And I'll to him. So then, as the beautiful story, what they said was they started to wipe the tears from his eyes. And then he became a little bit and expectant that this 10th man will arise. So, first stage of the Vedic teaching clearly had a distinction between and another. Given teaching, ancient just suppose someone think I know what's going on in my right, very ancient and well tried. So that's the whole idea. And it says you are free. Don't get set with things. And then at this point, all you can say is to say, really? Honestly, you're not joking. He says, no, not joking. So this is the stage of what is called Viveka. Viveka means electricity and plants and so on and so forth. This is Viveka. And thoroughly understood. But not to see Ananda. Not this, but just becoming a Viveka, you don't immediately become joy. Become less sorrowful. It's like this. That's why this one example is so beautiful, so valuable, so elegant. Just as, in fact, I gave this example. He was actually this who felt keeping everything and so forth. He gas hitting his bark of a tree. It just swizzled through forth. So the bark of a tree flowing of his past, but the eternal maybe hope, because the story is not there. So to now 13 to 23 first stage. Not the first time it was the same thing I talked about. It has a beautiful quality that and can before. So as though you have to read all 18 chapters before you really understand what's going on. Every chapter is what the same. Talked out, but certainly on the verses number 18 to 23rd, This was well documented. That is the first stage. Then comes the second stage, which is given in the verse number 24. Brahmarpanam Brahmahavi Brahmagnau Brahmana. That stage, going back to the man story, is the person. So this is another beautiful thing about the story, is that the Apta Purusha first says, in order for me to produce the 10th man, you all stand in a single file, or rather not a file, but you stand in front of me, next to each other, shoulder to shoulder. Why do we have to do that? Just do it. I'm telling you. And he says, okay, everyone with me, especially to this person. So, in fact, this person, he says, you stand next to me. And he had all the 9 people standing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then he says, yours. That joy is totally different from the trust, the joy, trust Purusha. This guy now is hit. Is no longer just wiping the tears. He's now joyful that nothing has been lost. I made a mistake. Made a mistake. And this is the second stage. And for 24th verse, which we are going to study probably next week, we don't have enough time. I just wanted to give you an introduction. It's not that Brahmasti. That Brahman is. There is something not changing. There is something which is all-encompassing. There is something which is free. Something which is not born. Something that cannot die. It is not Brahman Asti, but Brahman Asmi. I am that person. This is a huge leap. Huge leap. And this leap, even though true, is not appreciated. And it is appreciated that a person who is truly free can only be me. In the sense that the person is totally reliant and infinite in nature must include me. It must be me. This is a huge leap. So, the first stage is where electricity, you must be. You see, when the appliance fails, but the other appliances are working. The person is to say, all appliance, basic, powerful. The example has limitations. From Brahma Asti, some Brahman Asti, and so on and so forth. Too much for you. It is not until one understands. So, starts the first step of the second phase. This is those going here very accurately. But, this in that verse, it helps me understand that I am not some remote. We'll do next. Excuse me. Om Asato Satkamaya Tamaso Maj Kamaya Purnam Pushyate Shanti Shanti Om Shri Pyo Namah Hari. Yes.
And also with this philosophy, this thinking, way of thinking. So is the way of thinking that creates effect, or he is still the same person?
Yeah, so what one gains from doing this is not the production person, the same person differently. You're right. Simply, like in the case of this 10th man example, the person was never lost to begin with. Misunderstood to be lost in a context, right? Yeah. Production of the 10th person, it's just that the misconception was removed. It's the same person. So similarly, in our experience, what will happen is that you are surrounded itself with an accusation, unwarranted. So there is a misconception about yourself. And then you will see that, my goodness, I misunderstood myself. As though I'm not producing a so yeah, that's the feeling one gets. All the common experiences, all of the, and even people like myself that have had some idea of this, I may not be totally sure, but is not a sense of triumph. As though, my goodness, I don't feel that I've accomplished it. It is just that I'm sorry I made a mistake about me. Wow, what an amazing. So there's not a new thing gets produced, it's the recognition of an older person that comes.
But the heart is the same, the feelings are the same.
Feeling is the same, but it's totally different in the sense that, like example, let's go back to a 10th man example. Previous to clearing up this misconception, the way he would behave with others would be different in the sense that he would say, I told you guys to together, and I took this, whatever you say. Now the same transaction would be given, then you say, why was the one who made the mistake? Nobody has been lost, everything is still the
King's son, he's lost. He was, they discovered him.
Yeah.
That he and the king, and
right.
He is also the king. So then he becomes, he rules just like him. It happened type of.
That's a different example. Let's not. And in the interest of time, we'll on that. We'll come back.
That I am is.
Yes.
So we fast against existing Hindu practice.
Yes.
Pray to Ram, Krishna, Shiva,
Yes.
Durga,
Yes.
thinking they are supreme.
Quite right. Yes.
So how to reconcile
The question is that the prayers to Rama, Krishna, etc. Yes, you Ish, who is responsible for creation, and so it's not as though changes things. It's just your own conception of who you are changes. That you are, and Krishna praying, life as which is flowing through you, separate. We'll go into this in great detail, just giving you a quick example. So this abheda, but eventually, so is just to shorten a little bit. So what you'll find is that what is given to me is by the giver, not me is him. So that's kind of do the principle goes.
Between electricity and appliance today. So as you were saying, manifestation of electricity requires an appliance.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
And the manifestation of consciousness requires a body for us to see.
Correct. Correct.
It gets broken at the death of a GV.
Broken, did you say?
What are you saying? When
So really all that goes missing is nothing gets except the following thing: the gross representation of this person in the form of the body, mind, body. In fact, let's just distinguish between Sthula Sharira and Sukshma Sharira. Sthula Sharira and goes back to its constituent forms like earth and water and so on. The Sukshma Sharira is continuing on. The Sukshma Sharira meaning a sense of separate identity. I am just a jiva. Now the Sukshma Sharira is searching for a final identity but hasn't found it for whatever reason. So glom on to another body.
okay.
So there is a jiva. Examples of parents who are no longer here, let's say, they are alive somewhere.
Right.
Different situation. For example, when we do Shraddha, it is not to a memory. Always take it as a memory of someone who gave birth to you, and so you are very helpful. You are thankful for, not helpful, thankful for it. But it should be done here to a living person, just like supposing a child who lives across from the other, you want to give them a prayer. So that continues on. That person also understands that I am really not just a Sukshma Sharira, I am in fact nothing but Brahman itself. Yeah, something.
The Sukshma Sharira must be powered by something like consciousness.
So it is everything is powered by consciousness. Everything is powered by consciousness. But it is powered by a sense of separateness. That's what powers it. Sense of jivatvam. So that identity is like a bank account. The whole thing is owned by the bank, but there is a certain segment. So that segment means that there is an account number, and that will continue on. That may be given to someone else. Suppose you gave that to someone else, but the account is.
Balance is there.
Balance is there. Yeah. Yeah.
We had 5 statements of consciousness. So one of them was that consciousness is
Correct.
not a part or product of
Yeah.
body mind. So science or Purva Paksha, they say that it is part of body mind complex. And there is no way to prove that either is correct, whether Vedanta is correct or science is correct. So or is there a way?
So there's lots of ways. Lots of ways. Not true. Absolutely there is.
Yeah, so what is at least that there's no way that either.
No. So we'll have to go at some other, just stay with the teaching, and I'll go over that. So pramanatvam is an important thing, and we will prove it to you. Yeah, there is a way. Absolutely, there is a way. Very shortly, just to tell you, this is something you have to appreciate. The fact that I am doesn't need a proof. I am someone, I am this or the other needs a proof. But the fact that I am is swataha. It does not need a proof. The science does not admit to this. How can there be something without a proof? And so we say that the proof is only necessary for Atma. But even the person who is seeking the proof is already there. So yes, we have to understand this. But this has the scientific example is so set in the particular way that they will not admit it, which is okay, let them do whatever. But it is really the main thing is for myself. And there what we have to understand, and I'm just giving you a short version, that will come in more detail later on, is that I should see, I don't need a proof. Everything else needs a proof, but I mean, Atma doesn't need a proof. Anyway, we'll go into that.
So, if this is a tradition in South India family, in many houses, before giving the milk,
Yeah, this everywhere, it's everywhere. Yes,
but
yes.
now in South it is.
No, it is there in all over. So, yeah, we will go into that. Yes, sorry, Rani.
So, following up a little bit on that question where you say that the general practice is to consider yourself and you play to Ram, Krishna, no. So, is that a step in the direction?
Yes, it's a step in the right direction. That's exactly right. Yeah, a step in the right direction. It's not the final one. It's necessary.
And is that more like the wet, so the Vedanta and the Ved, which is in a no duality. But when you are separating between two parts, in that time moment, you are actually practicing duality of God.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is what's called is this whole issue of how one looks at the Ishvara and the gods and so on is the subject of what is Imams. So, in technical words, what is Tatparya. So, Tatparya means what is the purpose of Vedic knowledge, of Vedas. Because the Vedas is a single body. So it's a single body. And certain which is Dvaita and the Advaita. So they have some segments. But they are not equal segments, one or the other. One is a stage to the other. The teaching of the Bhagavad Gita, where there is clear, is jnanam better or karma better? And so it's not either or are. It is really one where you use that as a sadhana. So but the Dvaita section, the Karma Kanda section of the Vedas is so elaborate and so well done, and actually does produce some results that the adherents that they feel enough. I don't need anything more. Where with Mimamsa says, no, this is the final stage of a stage of a stage. The next will come later. The Advaita and also thing, even the Jivan Mukta, who are friends, continue. While the body lasts, you still have to transact and so on, but it does not result in a conclusion which is wrong. Go into more details. Okay, one.
I'm not living here at Vedas. So I'm thinking, I've read Western countries on Vedas and talk about Indra, this and that. From the Vedas to Aryan attack, coming to
Yeah.
that. So, there.
So their Western scholars are mistaken about to understand what's going on. You have to examine it and you have to analyze it and